The sun rose gently over the quiet town as Daniel pushed open the door of his small house. He was a single dad raising his young son Ethan alone. Life had not been easy for him, yet he carried his struggles with silent strength. His wife had passed away 3 years earlier after a long illness, and since then Daniel had been trying to hold his world together piece by piece. Every day Daniel woke early, made breakfast for Ethan, and then rushed to his job at the repair shop. It was not glamorous, but it paid just enough for food, rent, and Ethan's school. Still, the weight of responsibility pressed heavily on his shoulders. At night he would sometimes sit by himself staring at the old family photo on the wall and wondering how he would keep going. Ethan was only 9 years old, yet wise beyond his age. He noticed the lines of fatigue on his father's face and often whispered, "Dad, you are my hero." Those words were like fuel for Daniel. They gave him strength when he felt like falling apart. One Thursday morning Daniel was driving down an old country road on his way to work. Ethan was already at school, so the car felt strangely quiet. As he came around a bend he noticed a vehicle parked on the roadside with its hazard lights blinking. A young woman stood beside the car waving her hand for help. Daniel pulled his truck to the side and stepped out. The woman looked worried. Her car tire was flat and she had no idea how to fix it. She told him her phone battery had died while she was trying to call for help. Daniel smiled and said, "Do not worry, I can take care of it." He rolled up his sleeves, knelt by the wheel and got to work. His hands moved confidently from years of working at the shop. Within minutes the flat tire was replaced and the car was ready to drive again. The woman's face lit up with relief. "Thank you so much," she said. "I do not know what I would have done without you." Daniel gave a small shrug. Anyone would have helped, but the woman shook her head. No, not everyone would. Her name was Claire. She was on her way to the city for a business meeting when fate had left her stranded. She wore a smart navy suit, yet her eyes carried a warmth that made her approachable. Daniel introduced himself as a mechanic and a single father. Claire asked about his son and Daniel found himself telling her little things about Ethan, his love for drawing and his dream of becoming an artist. Claire listened with genuine interest. For Daniel it felt strange but comforting to open up about his life to someone he had just met. Before leaving, Claire handed him a business card and said, "If you ever need anything, please call me." Daniel nodded but tucked the card into his pocket without giving it much thought. That evening Ethan asked his father about the grease stains on his shirt. "Did you fix another car today, Dad?" Daniel chuckled and said, "Yes, son, I helped a lady who was stuck on the road." Ethan's eyes widened with admiration. "You are like a superhero." Daniel smiled and ruffled his hair. "I am just a man trying to do good, son." Life returned to its usual rhythm. Daniel worked at the shop and Ethan studied hard. But sometimes Daniel found himself thinking about the woman on the road. There had been something in her smile, something that stirred a part of his heart he thought had died. One night Daniel found Claire's card again while folding laundry. He read the name over and over. Claire Williams, consultant. He wondered about her world, which was so different from his own. He had no reason to call, yet something inside him whispered that their paths had crossed for a reason. Not long after, his boss at the repair shop announced troubling news. Business was failing. Hours would be cut and closure might follow. Daniel felt his heart sink. Without steady work he would not be able to keep up with Ethan's school fees or even their rent. That night, after putting Ethan to bed, Daniel sat at the kitchen table with his head in his hands. Then he remembered the card. Fighting with his pride, he finally dialed the number. Claire answered with a gentle voice. Daniel spoke hesitantly. "Hi, this is Daniel. I do not know if you remember me. I helped you with your car last week." "Of course I remember," she said warmly. "How are you?" Daniel explained his situation carefully. He did not ask for charity, only if she knew of any opportunities where an honest man could work. Claire listened quietly, then said, "Let us meet tomorrow. I think I might have something." The next morning Daniel met Claire at a cafe. She asked about his skills and dreams. He told her about his years fixing cars and his wish to provide a better life for Ethan. Claire nodded thoughtfully. "I know someone who runs a transportation company," she said. "They need a reliable manager for vehicle maintenance. It pays better than your job now. Would you be interested?" Daniel stared in disbelief. It was as though a door to a new future had opened. He nodded, "Yes, I would." Soon after, Daniel met with Mr. Thompson, the owner of the company. Claire introduced him and spoke highly of his dedication. Mr. Thompson asked questions about vehicles and responsibility. Daniel answered with quiet confidence. At the end, Mr. Thompson said, "Daniel, I think you will do well. We will start you on probation. If all goes well, you will have a permanent position." Daniel walked out of that office with Claire at his side, feeling hope he had not felt in years. Over the following months he worked harder than ever. He supervised repairs, managed schedules, and earned the respect of his colleagues. Mr. Thompson praised his honesty and work ethic. Slowly Daniel's life began to change. Claire often visited to check on him. Sometimes she came to the office with coffee and sometimes to his house to see Ethan. She brought Ethan a sketchbook and colored pencils, which made the boy's eyes light up with joy. She encouraged his art and listened to his stories. Ethan soon adored her. Claire became a constant presence in their lives. For Daniel it was both comforting and terrifying. He still carried the memory of his wife in his heart and feared opening himself again. Yet he could not deny the warmth Claire brought into their world. One evening they sat on the porch while Ethan played inside. Daniel said quietly, "Claire, I do not know how to thank you. You gave me a chance when I had nothing." Claire smiled. "You gave me something first, Daniel. On that road I felt helpless. You reminded me that kindness still exists. That is something I will never forget." Their eyes met and Daniel felt his heart stir with emotions he thought were gone. Months passed. Daniel was promoted to a permanent role and finally earned enough to move into a larger house. On moving day, Claire helped unpack and cook them dinner in the new kitchen. As they ate and laughed together, Daniel felt a sense of family he thought he had lost forever. Yet doubts haunted him. One night he confessed to Claire, "I loved my wife deeply. Losing her broke me. I am afraid if I open my heart again I might lose everything once more." Claire reached for his hand. "Daniel, love does not erase the past. It honors it. Your wife will always be part of you. But you and Ethan deserve happiness again. Do not let fear take it from you." Her words touched his soul. For the first time he felt he could move forward without betraying his wife's memory. Years passed and their bond grew stronger. Daniel became head of operations at the company. Ethan thrived in school and grew confident with Claire cheering him on. She attended his art exhibitions and celebrated his every step. She had become more than a friend. She was family. One summer evening they sat at the park watching the sunset. Ethan leaned against his father and whispered, "Dad, I like Claire. She makes us happy." Daniel smiled and looked at her. In that moment he realized his son was right. He turned to Claire and said, "You came into our lives when we least expected it. You helped us when we had nothing. Now I cannot imagine our lives without you. Would you stay with us not just as a friend but as family?" Tears filled her eyes. "Yes, Daniel," she said softly. "Nothing would make me happier." From that day forward they became a family of three, bound not by blood but by love and kindness. Years later, when Ethan became an artist, he would tell people the story. "My father once stopped to help a stranger on the road. That one act of kindness gave me a new mother, gave my father a new life, and taught me that kindness has the power to change the world." Daniel would smile whenever he heard those words. Life had taken much from him, but it had also given him a second chance. And all of it began with a simple decision to help a woman on the road.